Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I am Richa and I bring you tons of Indian recipes, easy vegan meals, savory breakfasts and so much more on this channel. If you like my recipes and if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please do. Today I'm making this sauce that is inspired from Balchao. Balchao is a recipe from Goan cuisine. Goa is a coastal state in the western part of India and it has its own cuisine, which is influenced by many cuisines from within India as well as Portuguese cuisine, and it has these very specific flavor profiles that are not necessarily found in the rest of India. Balchao is usually made with prawns, which is tossed in this spicy sour sauce. It's kind of like a pickle. You add a ton of vinegar to it along with some spice and flavors, and then you can make it ahead and keep it for a long time. But instead of adding a cup of vinegar and making a pickle version, I'm adding vinegar just for flavor purposes and making a delicious sauce. When I was writing the recipe, I was thinking this sauce is going to be really delicious with all of those Kashmiri chilies, garlic, the whole spices, black pepper, and some vinegar all blended up. And it is going to be really good with some crisped up tofu or some beans or chickpeas. But I've done that with several sauces before, so I thought I'll change it up a little bit. So I added some mushrooms to the sauce and then topped that mixture with some crispy white beans. These crispy white beans are easy and they add amazing texture to the whole dish. The sauce is absolutely delicious. Then there's some umami from the mushrooms and there's some crunch from the white beans. If you want to make it higher protein, you can fold in some crisped up tofu in the sauce or add in some blended tofu to make a creamier sauce, or add in some red lentils while you're cooking the mushrooms so you have more like a lentil mushroom stew situation, which will be hearty and you can serve it as a soup. It will have protein from the lentils, whichever non-dairy cream you're using in it, as well as the crispy white beans. And then serve it with some delicious whole grain bread and it'll just be a mind-blowing stew. Basically use the sauce however you like. The traditional version uses toddy vinegar, which is a kind of coconut vinegar. So if you have coconut vinegar, do use it in this recipe. Use whichever vinegar you have and make this delicious recipe and let me know in the comments how you liked it. First, we are going to put our beans to crisp up. Preheat the oven, drain and rinse the white beans and then let them sit in the strainer for about 5 minutes to drain even more. In the meanwhile, collect the spices that you want to put on the white beans. If you want more flavor in the white beans, add in some garam masala as well. Line a baking sheet with parchment, then transfer the beans from your strainer to the parchment-lined baking sheet. Add the cornstarch and spice mixture to the beans and toss well to coat. Add 1 to 2 teaspoons of oil and toss well again to coat the beans and then spread them in an even layer. Some of them will be clumpy, which is fine. You just don't want too thick a clump of more than like 4 or 5 beans. If they are too thick a clump, just break them apart, spread them on the baking sheet and then put this to bake for about 20 minutes. At the 18 to 20 minute mark, check the beans and stir them a little bit so that the outer beans, which are already golden and starting to get crunchy, can move towards the center and move the center portions out, and then continue to bake them for another 5 to 10 minutes until they're nicely crunchy. If some of the beans are somewhat not crunchy, that is okay. Just switch off your oven and let the beans sit to dry out for another 5 to 10 minutes. Then remove them from the oven and they should be nicely crunchy and delicious. Let them cool a little bit before you pop them in your mouth. Also, don't finish all the beans because we do need some to pair with the balchao mushrooms. Now to make our spicy paste, if you have time, do soak the Kashmiri chilies in some hot water for an hour or so. If not, just add them directly to the blender, add the ginger and garlic, add the whole spices, the cumin seeds, black peppercorns, some cloves and cinnamon stick. You can also use ground cinnamon, see all those values on the recipe post. Add a little bit of turmeric as well, add some vinegar and some water and then blend this mixture. Blend it for a minute and let it sit for about 5 minutes if you hadn't soaked your Kashmiri chilies, and then blend again for half a minute and then let it sit for a minute and then blend again for half a minute until everything is smooth, and then set this aside. Now to make our balchao sauce, heat a large skillet over medium-high heat, add a little bit of oil. Once the oil is hot, add in all of the chopped onions. Also add in a little bit of salt and sugar to help the onion get golden. The sugar helps to balance out the flavor from the tang and the heat, so add a little bit of sugar or maple syrup. And your curry leaves, if you have really large curry leaves, you can break them apart or just chop them up and add them to the onion, because sometimes you just don't like all these curry leaves coming into your mouth when you're eating the sauce. Or you can remove the curry leaves just before serving. Then cook the onion until it is golden. Add splashes of water in between so that the onions can cook evenly, and stir every minute or so. We're cooking at over medium-high heat, so you want to keep an eye on the onion. Once the onion is starting to turn golden, add in the mushrooms and another good pinch of salt. Add a splash of water as well, and then mix in and cook. Cover the mushrooms with the lid and cook this for about 3 to 4 minutes. Add another splash of water and mix in and cover it and let the mushrooms cook for another 2 to 3 minutes. Now, depending on the mushrooms that you use, they already might be starting to get almost done. If they are, then you don't need to cook them further. If they're still pretty undone, continue to cook these for 3 to 4 minutes. Then open the lid and add your blended sauce and mix in. Reduce the heat to medium-low. Cover with the lid and let this simmer and slow cook for at least 15 to 20 minutes or longer. You want the sauce to thicken a little bit and the mushrooms to cook down. You want the mushrooms to be almost cooked or at least al dente before we add the sauce. The sauce has vinegar and that will slow down the cooking of the mushrooms. So if you try to cook the mushrooms in the sauce, they will take a much longer time to cook. Keep stirring every 6 to 7 minutes so that the mushrooms don't scorch at the bottom. If the sauce is thickening too much, reduce the heat, add some more water if you like, and continue to cook this until the sauce is thickened and the flavors have melted and you don't smell any raw garlic. Then open the lid and carefully taste and adjust the flavor. Add in some more salt with the sauce. Check if your mushrooms are done. If you want the sauce to be creamier, add in some non-dairy yogurt or non-dairy cream at this point. Also add in a little bit of water to adjust the consistency. Bring that to a boil and switch off heat. Now you can serve the sauce however you like with the crispy, crunchy white beans. Just pair them up however you like in a bowl. You can make it into a stewy situation. You can serve it with some roasted veggies, baked potato, crunchy veggies, or however you like. I like to serve the mushroom balchao topped with the crispy beans with some naan and a side salad. Or I serve it with some rice. Serve it with some delicious whole grain bread. Basically use the sauce however you like. It just has amazing flavor. You can also make it into tacos or wraps. Add some chopped lettuce, top it with the mushroom balchao as the sauce, these crispy white beans, some chopped onion and cucumber, and some lemon juice and black pepper, and oh my god, it's going to be super delicious. These white beans, they are crunchy and they're kind of very shortbready, so they're not hard. They're easy to eat. You can make different variations with different spices. I can imagine adding some Cajun spice, Burberry, garam masala, some Jamaican jerk, or just, plain salt and pepper. There isn't too much flavor inside, so you want to add as much flavor as possible on the outside, and don't forget to use some kind of starch like cornstarch or tapioca starch. That'll help the spices stick to the beans as well as protect the beans from getting way too hard. It kind of helps to get that right texture. Do let me know in the comments how you used it, what you paired with it, and how you served it. If you do try this recipe, don't forget to review it on my website as well. The link is always in the description below. All of the recipe details are on my website. There are tons of different options on how to make it allergy friendly, all the substitutes that you can use for both the sauce and the proteins and everything, as well as more information in the comment section by all of the people who've tried it. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do. Thank you for watching and I'll see you next time.